All right. Good people, what's happening? As you can see, you should have saw it in the title. It's still table time. And we're not going to waste a lot of time. I'm going to read a few names, the early hellos, and we're going to dive right in. Because if you guys look at the description and stuff and all that, each video, you'll notice I put in there, it's too many topics to even list. So we just going to just dive right in. But welcome, man. Well, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic. I am still in the still basement, but there's no virtual Heinz Field, as you can see, because I have my good brother on, Kenyon in the building, and we're going to chop up all of the latest and greatest news about the Steelers and things that will affect the Steelers. So let me say hello to everybody first. Guys, confirm that you can hear me. I think you can, but we always got to confirm to make sure. Rajon 39, Miss Destiny. What's going on, Miss Destiny? Destiny in the building. Vista Light, C. Antoine Hill. Hello, Miss Lanisha in the building. Jim Iman. Who else? Ron Simpson Gaming. Football Mind 02. Joshua Shields, Jordan Mid. Who else we got up in here? Jarvis Humphreys. He said, world's biggest reach. And then he puts a peach in the chat there. And let me leave that alone. I'm just laughing because that peach sometimes when it's sent to you by certain people, it means something else. Oh, he said the world's biggest peach. Oh, my bad. I thought he was saying reach. I thought he was reacting to the title. So maybe that is what he's saying, Kenyon. I don't know, but what's up to you, brother? Antoine Beasley. Who else we got up in here really quick? Charlie Brown. Who else? Jeremy Johnson. I saw Miss Debbie. Hello, Miss Debbie. What's going on, Miss Debbie? Appreciate you tuning in. Todd Christian, Patrick Covington Sr., Steeler Cards, Carmichael the Sports Guru. And we'll end it right there. Oh, Real Facts. What's up, Real Facts? Got to shout you out as well. Mr. Winningham, I saw you in the last minute, so we always got to shout out some of our faithful, some of the people who are here every single week. Speaking of which, no, Deron, no call in tonight, man. Actually, we tried to do it for whatever reason. Blog Talk Radio doesn't allow Kenyon to connect. So, unfortunately, if I did phone calls, he wouldn't be able to hear the question. So it's kind of really no need to do it. And it kind of would slow us down in that regard. So unfortunately, anytime we do the SteelTable, we're not really going to have phone calls. But let me say this real quick too, and I'll say it at the end of the show. Next week will be the 100th episode. And, I'm not really into doing special things and stuff of that nature. But as luck would have it, it is going to be a special show because the SteelTable for ladies will be happening next Tuesday. So it just, like they say, look at God. Look how it worked out. That'll be a special episode. And they got a host of topics they want to get into. So look out for that next week. But all right, man, we're going to dive right in. Give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to talk about. First and foremost, we are definitely going to talk about the Cleveland Browns. We're going to start with that. The Deshaun Watson trade. What they're going to do with Baker Mayfield, the rumors of Mayfield coming to Pittsburgh, all of that. Then we're going to talk a little bit about something that Mason Rudolph talked about in regards to Matt Canada and Ben Roethlisberger. We'll talk free agent losses, free agent pickups, why the Steelers are interviewing so many people for the GM job. That's a question that I need to know. And then last but not least, you see it in the title, you see it in the thumbnail. Will the Steelers move up to draft Malik Willis? And for you guys who critique everything, that screenshot is from, a roster that I post, I was able to download or what have you in Madden. It was before I changed this number. No, I'm not advocating for him to wear number 7. Calm down, folks. It's just a screenshot. But all right, man, I'll throw it to you first, Kenyon. This whole situation with the Browns. It's crazy, first and foremost. Never thought that we was going to see what actually happened after us being told, I say us, the media or whatever. We were told that the Browns were out of the running for Deshaun Watson, then obviously we know why he did sign. I mean, money talks. And shout outs to him for the biggest contract in NFL history in terms of guaranteed money. I love that. What are your thoughts, man? How crazy was it? How surprised were you? Where do they go from here? What do they do with Baker?
I guess in a lot of ways you're shocked, but you're kind of not shocked. But I guess part of you feels, the NFL looks kind of bad in the situation just because of, you're dealing with Deshaun Watson is accused of such and such crimes, wasn't convicted in the court of law, but he has all these civil suits for doing things towards women, supposedly. And, it's one thing if it's one person, it's one thing if it's two people, maybe you can argue that. We start getting like into the 10s, into the 20s, you kind of question that stuff. And then yet he gets a $230 million deal, and Colin Kaepernick kneels because he doesn't want us to get beat up, and he can't get a job. So that was my first thought. Like I was like, it's just so hypocritical, and it just shows you it's a societal issue, and it's kind of sad. So I'm happy for Deshaun. Just another quarterback in our division. I don't fear him like other people would fear him like that. I don't fear him like that. And plus, he'll probably get suspended, so he'll miss like parts of the season. And as far as Baker goes, the Browns. Those are telling things that the Browns said before, and then Baker would come out and Instagram and make a point of saying goodbye and say he gave it all he had, and them saying they wanted to grown up. Those are telling situations.
That's terrible.
When you're the number one pick in the draft. So, I don't know. I mean, the Browns have to get rid of him. They have to either cut him after June 1st, or they have to trade him before that. If they trade him, as me and you text earlier, which is funny. They're gonna have to add a draft pick to get Baker out. They're not gonna get picks for him. So that'll be an interesting situation to follow. But I guess we'll see. I mean, the Browns seem to be all in on Deshaun. So I guess we'll see. And then the AFC North it's an interesting situation with the quarterback turnover with the Browns and even us. So we'll see. But that was my initial thoughts, man. I kind of felt like uneasy. I didn't like it. I just felt like it's so hypocritical, and it just makes you not want to even just a bad feeling. You know what I mean? Just a bad feeling.
No, I'm right there with you. We all talked about it offline. Am I happy for Deshaun Watson? Absolutely. Let's address the elephant in the room. I'm not afraid to do it. African American quarterback. Remember, there was a time where they didn't think that African Americans, I'm gonna use that term, which that term is trash anyway, but that's the term that America uses. There was a time that African Americans, they weren't considered able to play quarterback. That was the narrative. And I'm not making this a race thing. I'm just, I'm speaking facts of what happened in society. So it's funny to see now that an African American quarterback has set a new standard for the NFL with the biggest guaranteed money contract. And I'm going to give credit, again, for you people who think that, Sim is always for race, da-da-da. No, I'm going to give credit to another race. I said this when it happened. Shout outs to Kirk Cousins. When he got that contract, 3 years, $87 million guaranteed, I was like, yes. Thank you, Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins will always be the guy that I remember first, giving him fair credit, because I felt like that was going to set a new standard. Either there would be more guaranteed contracts or the guarantee of the contract would just go up. And it did. And now look, you go from $87 million 3 years to now you've grown to $230 5 years. So a round of applause, man, to Kirk Cousins for that. And definitely I'm happy for that with Deshaun Watson. But like Kenyon said, we're not going to turn a blind eye that it just looks, it's nasty, man. It looks, yes, I'm saying it. There's no reason why Colin Kaepernick was treated the way he was. I'm not here to question anybody's opinion. We know how that situation got blown out of proportion. Some people think it was a political thing, which it absolutely was not. A lot of other people on the other side know exactly what it was about. And they forget that military guy was the one who suggested, hey, man, to make it not disrespectful or at least appear that way, why don't you kneel? Everyone forgets all that. And whether you hate him or love him, we clearly see how these two situations played out. And I think it is hypocritical on all fronts. I'm not going to lie. But listen, man, shout outs to Deshaun Watson. But again, I got to address the other elephant. 22 allegations. You know, I'm not going to call him guilty. You know, I believe in innocent until proven guilty. That's always my thing. I'm always the one saying, I don't know. Maybe this, maybe that. But man, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And real quick, Kenya, let me ask the ladies in the chat, because I want to always get the women's perspective. I don't want to sound insensitive with this comment, but I think y'all understand where I'm going. Some of these allegations seem a little weird to me. I don't know if I believe them all. Right. There's one allegation from one woman, and I quote, she said that Deshaun Watson was air thrusting on the massage table. I'm not a female. I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't be offended by. That just sounds a little strange. So I'm asking the ladies in the chat, how y'all feel about some of these allegations? Does it even sound real? I'm not questioning whether or not that would offend you. I'm just saying, when one allegation comes out and then they keep piling on and keep piling on and keep piling on, and then some of the ones further down and stuff like he was air thrusting. Huh? That sounds like a pile on. Like that now that sounds like, oh, you know what? He did do a little something when he was in there. Let me get some money. You know what I mean? So, but let me get away from that, because I don't want anybody to be like, man, you know, I don't know. I'm merely just agreeing with what Kenyon said, man. I think it is a little hypocritical as far as how it went down. And now we're even hearing that, you know, the story is out there now that, you know, I think the lawyers are saying that no, they didn't contact us at all. You know, because the teams were trying to make it sound like they did their due diligence. But now they're saying that Cleveland didn't even contact the lawyer in regards to what's going on with the case. So it's kind of like they just blindly. And here's the other question. And I'll give my opinion and then I'll throw it to Kenyon. Man, some of y'all might disagree with me on this. I don't know. Do you give up 3 first-round picks, 2 additional picks, and guarantee $230 million? I don't know, y'all. I know what y'all gonna say, man. You know, even my cousin Floyd, shout outs to cousin Floyd if he's to see this. He's like, man, forget them picks. He's right in theory. And we'll talk about that a little later when we get down to the Malik Willis topic. But that's a lot to throw out there while this situation is occurring. So, because you basically all in. Remember that cap situation that us Steelers fans were in? Whoa. Especially since, and hats off to Cleveland, I got to give them credit for this, especially the way they are structuring that first year. So if he gets suspended, he doesn't really miss out on a whole lot of money, because I think his base salary is going to end up being like $1 million, and he's getting like 40-something million as a signing bonus. That's pretty cute, Cleveland. I see what you did there. You looked out for him. Cool. But what about those other years? Y'all see how big that cap hit is going to be? I don't know what's Myles Garrett contract look like. Is he already re-upped? I'm guessing, right? He's been in the league.
Didn't he get another extension?
Maybe he did. I'm trying to remember. But I'm just thinking out loud. There's going to be some players that's going to come due during that time, and they selling the farm, man. And it's almost like I actually heard somebody say this yesterday, and I was like, you know what, you're right. This might be the year. This might be their window. Because after this season, their team is going to start changing because there's going to be guys that you can't afford to bring back with that huge cap hit. Unless they take the Steelers approach and they start, restructuring over and over and over. But I don't know, man. I don't know what you think, Kenya, man. Was it too much? Or let's phrase it like this. Would you have wanted to see the Steelers do that exact contract?
No.
There you go.
Let me say it better for you. Nope. As the movie is coming out.
There you go.
So I would never do that. I mean, they essentially did what the Rams did, and essentially said, we'll go all in, and suffer the consequences later. Try to win a Super Bowl, get one, and it's not a long-term strategy, but I don't think they're thinking like that. I mean, these new GMs that you have now, they don't think about planning like that. They think like let's go all in, see if we can win it, and it depends on what you want to do. If you want to have stability, if you want to go all in. As I've told my friend's a diehard Rams fan that lives out here, I said Rams are very fortunate to win the Super Bowl. They won it, but they're very fortunate that they won it. So, the way I look at it is Cleveland has never won. They're trying to get to that point where they can get to a Super Bowl, and they think Deshaun Watson can get them there. And we'll see how it plays out. Maybe it's a question yet to be answered. So
listen, folks, he's talented, and let me tell y'all something. I love Deshaun Watson, the player, and I'm still going to even say this because I don't know what's the truth. I love Deshaun Watson, the guy, the man, because I don't know what's true. Now, this is something I do in life. Like my wife would tell you, I could rock with you until I find out something about you, and then I'm like, and you could be one of my favorite athletes, artists, whatever, and I will be like, I can't rock with you no more. That right there. So that's how I'm treating Deshaun Watson until I know for sure. I still like the dude, man. I think he's a good guy. These are just allegations. And if it turns out that it's more than that, I'll give y'all a perfect example. I used to like Ray Rice a lot. When I seen him snuff old girl like that, though, I was like, oh boy. Listen, I was raised the don't put your hands on women. I also have known people who've made mistakes. They got caught up in the moment. They're not like that, so I don't write them off. But my man Ray Rice, like they say back in the day on the South, he cold cocked her. Like he snuffed her. Like, dog, I can't rock with that. You know what I mean? Like he hit her with a right hook. Like I don't mean to laugh, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like that wasn't your ordinary abuse. He straight and like homeboy. What's the dude name that just did that recently that played for the Rams? How he slammed that girl up, Stacy.
Yeah.
Zach Stacy.
Yeah.
Can't rock with you after that, man. That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he slammed homegirl like in front of the baby. See stuff like that.
He could have killed her. He literally could have killed her. And I was within 30 seconds. He almost did. He did it in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, man.
And the Ray Rice thing is the most egregious thing, but that one is close because it's the way he did it in front of the baby, which is kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you should never be at that point. Like where it gets you to that point. It's just terrible. It's disheartening. You know what I mean? Or you can even use a rapper as an example. Your boy Migos, and he was in the elevator with Salty. Remember? And he didn't even hit her. He was just trying to get out the way. You know what I mean? And you saw the footage and you were like, yo, you know what I mean? But it was like he was trying to move. And, she was intent on making it a situation. So,
it's a tough situation, man. But I say all that to say, and I promise y'all we about to move on, but I say all that to say I still like who Deshaun Watson is as a player, as a person until we find out the truth. But even with that, man, I don't know if I would have wanted to do that from a Steelers organization. Let's be honest, man. Football rust is a real thing. He hasn't played. He's gonna be suspended for some time. I just don't know if I would have mortgaged that much. I would love to have had him, but this is the reason why you hear myself, and I'm not trying to toot a horn. or Kenyon and others, when we tell y'all that ain't happening, they're not trading for Deshaun Watson. And now y'all see, look at what the deciding factor was. Steelers would never have been in that running. So, but it is going to be interesting in this AFC North. I'll tell you that. Joe Burrow's for real. Deshaun Watson, we assume, is still Deshaun Watson. We'll see. And Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. So, it's going to be interesting. But, guys, let's get into some other... real quick. What happens with Baker now? And this nonsense of this rumor coming out saying that if he gets cut, the Steelers will grab him. Like, I'm not going to entertain that. But where you think he goes, man? I mean, Mariota gets picked before him. Jameis goes back to the... I mean, where's Baker go now? Matty Ice is what, in the Colts?
Yeah, he was Colts. Yeah, that's where he wanted to go. That was his preferred destination. I think. I don't know. I mean, the Browns can keep him. I mean, he did say that if the Browns kept him, he would sit out, so he's not going to play. Yeah. So I guess technically, I mean, my destination for him, which I thought would probably be the best fit for both parties, is, Seattle would like him because I know they traded and they have Drew. Drew Lock. Drew Lock, but Seattle would use him because Seattle is, they could kind of get a quarterback similar to Russell, and I think Pete Carroll doesn't shy away from those type of quarterbacks. He kind of likes those guys, so I can see him going to Seattle. I can see the Browns cutting him post June 1st, and then he'll be on the street, and then somebody picks him up. But I'm with you. I'm not even going to have a discussion about him coming here. It's just like it's a still conspiracy theory. Like, I don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if he's not coming here. I don't want him on my team. You know what I mean? It's like, look, Baker has heart. I give him that, but I don't want him. But I don't want him on my squad. So that's how I feel about that.
Draft Sam Howell if you want the Baker experience.
That's what I'm saying. If you want Baker, if I want Baker, I just draft Sam Howell without the headache. You know what I'm saying? Same player without the headache. So no, that's it.
I mean, think about it, guys. I mean, I'm going to toot our horns as Steelers fans, all of us now, and say we're fans of a very stellar organization. And if the Browns have come out and said that they want someone who's a grown-up, I do not see Art Rooney, Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin, and anyone else is a part of that. Brandon Hunt, they not bringing on nothing like that. There's no way the Steelers will say, oh, well, we think we can grow him up. No. We talking about the Browns. No disrespect to Browns fans, but if they saying that, no way. No way the Steelers takes that on. I just don't see it. I don't see that. So we'll move on past that. So next on the list, guys, Mason Rudolph was quoted. And I'm going to read exactly what he said here. I got the little quote. He said that regardless of who the offensive coordinator would have been, well, he kind of phrased it like this. He said Ben would have run the show with any offensive coordinator. He was kind of asked about how the season went last year. This is nothing new to us. We've been saying that. Some people have said we are Matt Canada apologists. No, we're just stating the facts. We haven't seen his full fleshed out offense. So he said any offensive coordinator that would have been there last season, Ben Roethlisberger still would have ran the show, which we knew that going in. But then he also said Matt Canada likes play action, getting quarterbacks on the move, and pushing the ball down the field. And Mason Rudolph went on to say that it fit his style. Because this was basically before Trubisky. They were asking him, how does he feel presuming, to be the starter and his preparation in the offseason, yada, yada, yada. And he was basically saying that what Matt Canada wants to do fits his style. So this to me now makes sense. We'll get into Trubisky in a moment, but I don't see how you can argue with that at all, Kenyon. I don't see why anybody would We all had opinions on Matt Canada last year, and we should. He still should have adapted even with Ben. But I'm saying all this just to say this is the reason why I'm willing to give him another season to see what he actually has in his bag of tricks. And there you go. So anybody who wants to know why I'm still campaigning for Matt Canada or why even Mike Tomlin and company is brought him back, I think that fits the narrative right there. Clearly, they think that he has more talent. He has more that he can bring to the table with a different quarterback. And again, don't forget, Tomlin was saying way back, probably go back to week 8, week 9. We need a mobile quarterback. So it's almost kind of like Tomlin is hinting towards, we probably could do more if he was mobile. Think about in that one interview after one of the games, he was like, he can't move. He said that about Ben. Not being disrespectful, but he was just stating the obvious. So, all right, I'll throw it to Kenyon, man. But, what are your thoughts on that? I already know, but tell the good people.
Yeah, I'm not going to get long into this, but as I said before the season, as I said before that, I said that he cannot run his offense because he doesn't have the personnel to run the offense. I try to tell people, just look at Maryland's offense or look at Pitt's offense when he was there or look at Wisconsin where he was originally at in the Ron Dayne era and look at the offense, and it is a play-action RPO offense. San Francisco 49ers, all these teams in the NFL you see now that run RPOs, he is the person that they used to talk to and used that blueprint and brought it to the NFL. He was a consultant. He was always jumping around. He could never land anywhere. Then he finally gets a job, finally gets his opportunity with Pittsburgh, and he's staying for a minute. You can't run your offense with an immobile quarterback. He wants to push the ball down the field, and you cannot do that with an immobile quarterback like Ben, who couldn't throw it anymore. Ben gave us great years, but he couldn't do it anymore. So the offense was a limited offense. You didn't see anything. As I told Sim, and Sim knows this, he hasn't even run 1/4 of this offense because he doesn't have what he needs. And obviously the Steelers are all in on him, which is why they made the moves they made in the offseason to help him out. And they're not done. And they'll probably address them more in the draft. But as I've said before, that's what it is. So that's why I was never on Matt Canada like that. That's why, as Sim said, we weren't on him like that. I'm not going to, I get frustrated, but I'm not going to get frustrated if I know I don't have the pieces to what I'm trying to do. Once I have the pieces, it's a better evaluation. I can't evaluate you if you don't have your pieces. And the Steelers, in a lot of ways, are morphing into a different team, which is bringing in Matt Canada does that. So I'm just sitting back and watching what's going on. In a lot of ways, just wanting to see what he does when he finally gets what he wants. And Mitch Trubisky can run his offense. He can run that offense. He can do all that stuff. But there's another person who can run it too, which we'll talk about later. And all I'm saying is that he couldn't run his offense. So when people would be angry and say, well, if he had this, he should at least be able to do this. You can't do it if you don't have the pieces that you need. You can't. If your quarterback has final play call and play call selection and what he wants to do, he can audible at the line. What can you do? You're in the booth. They're going to put it on you because you're the OC. They're not going to put it on Ben. This was the last year. So I'm just saying, Mason Rudolph just confirmed what Sim and I already thought. Yeah. And that was just confirmation. So I don't even, for me, I'm not talking about no more. I just want to see what Matt Canada does. So that's it.
That's all we're saying, folks. We're not anointing him or anything like that. We're just saying, I don't think we got to see what he wanted to do. That's it. And, I'm not apologizing for him or anything, but I always want to ask, and shout outs to King Go Crazy. I know he challenges Matt Canada a lot. I just want to ask, where's the proof? And I'm not saying that there isn't any. Where's the proof that Matt Canada's offenses are not successful in college? The only reason why I'm asking is because, again, I don't know if he was, to be honest, I can't remember every team he was with, and I don't know where they ranked and all that. But because, the reason why I asked that question, guys, is I think as fans, and again, Keen, I'm not pointing you out specifically. I think we all do it to a degree. I think it's easy for us to say a player isn't this or isn't that. A coach isn't this or isn't that. And we don't really have any concrete
Right.
evidence, like what Destiny said here earlier, and I fully agree with her on this part about Matt Canada. His situational play calling was a little trash last year. I get it. You're battling Ben in some sorts, but still, what is that thing that Tomlin always says? When you got red paint, you paint the barn red. Well, Ben Roethlisberger was the barn.
Yep.
So I get it. He couldn't be him, but I still feel like there were situations that we all looked at and was like, no, why that? Maybe a better call, maybe a better formation. You know what I mean? So we're not letting him off the hook. So I think sometimes you guys in the chat or whoever is watching this, you mistake us giving an opinion you mistake that with thinking that we are campaigning for someone. I'm not. I'm just saying, y'all know how I am with coaches. I don't like just jumping off of coaches so fast. I don't like being one of those organizations. So I'm saying, all right, maybe Matt Canada wasn't the best and we all can agree last year, but let's see what he does with quarterbacks who can run his system. And if he stinks it up this year, now we can kind of say, okay, dude, you didn't have any handcuffs on you. No big-time veteran quarterback. You got a new guy in there, and we all expecting that you're probably going to have a new rookie coming. There's no excuse. So that's all we're saying. But like I said, Keen, I just don't know, where's the proof of that saying that his offenses don't work? And I would love to review it because, I don't know. I'm being honest. I'm not being funny. I'm asking, I would love to see, where the dislike of his offenses come from. Educate me on that.
Right. Well, I can expand on that if Keen wants an answer. But somebody else said that his offense at LSU was trash. He was there 1 year. He left. He was only there 1 year. He was there 1 year. When he was at Wisconsin, he had Ron Dane. Do you remember that year? That was the year that Ron Dane won the Heisman, and he rushed for 2,000 yards and broke the record. That offense was the number one rush offense in the country.
See, I ain't even know Matt Canada was there.
Go back and look at it. He was the number one rush offense in the country. Then when he was at Pitt, they had a top 10 offense when he was at Pitt. At Maryland, they had a top 20 offense, if you remember. That's why we loved. That's why we loved. McFarland. That's the offense. Also, if you want to use that, I'll give you an NFL example. The San Francisco 49ers run that offense. Do you like San Francisco's offense?
Love it.
Is it a good offense? That's all I'm saying.
And Jimmy G was running that, by the way.
Right, and Jimmy G was running it. So that's how I look at it. If you want to,
People call me crazy, and I don't think we're going to see this, but that's the reason why I was saying I know we don't really want Mason Rudolph to be the guy, but I felt like he could run that offense to some degree, meaning he can run play action. He can even run bootleg. Now, he's not a runner, but Mason Rudolph, and see, I think people confuse mobile and running.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, that ain't mobile. I don't call that mobile. I don't even call, let me see, who else?
No, mobile is being able to move around in the pocket
Joe
and
Burrow.
being able to roll out. Right.
Joe Burrow shows some mobility in the pocket.
Yeah.
He's not a runner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Mason Rudolph, actually last year, he showed us that he can get out a little bit, extend the play. That's all. And that's all we're saying. Of course, I would rather see, honestly, with this offense, and because he's been there and done that guy, whether you hate him or love him, I'd rather see Trubisky run that versus Mason Rudolph, because I've seen games where Trubisky could run the football and he could run play action and he could throw it downfield. Now, as far as accuracy and all that over a course of time, we're just going to have to find out. But I don't know. We'll get in Trubisky in a moment, man. So next up, guys, I guess we're done with that topic. Free agent losses, man. Oof. I guess the biggest ones to talk about are the 3 wide receivers. And I want to ask Kenya, man, because I want Kenya to break it down for us, how the losses affect us, how each person will affect us. First, of course, guys, we're talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. which is an interesting one. And maybe we'll address that first. You know, now that his mom has come out and said, you know, she, you know, got cute on Instagram saying, you know, maybe the Steelers wanted a new boyfriend and all. And, you know, and shout out to Lanisha. Lanisha sent it to me, you know, before I had seen it. It's interesting coming from her, but I don't know if it's the end all be all. I mean, that's her baby. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how factual it is, meaning this. Maybe they didn't like the deal that the Steelers was proposing. Maybe that's what it is. And that's fair. But hold on, guys. Wow. Round of applause. Outdoing yourselves tonight, man. Look at this. Kev, so fun. Look at the donation. Round of applause, man. Man, appreciate that. Dropping that $49.99, man. Oh, man. Much love. Thank you. So I am going to interrupt myself. We'll answer your question. He says, my question to both of y'all, would you go defense in the draft by using having to face, okay, I think he's saying by you having to face mobile quarterbacks in our division and conference, and what do you think about reports saying we're looking into Baker? Now, I'm going to add on to your question. I think you're asking, would we go defense like first round? I think that's what you're asking, because I don't think there's a doubt that they will pick some defensive player at some point. So I'm going to frame that as if you're asking, will we go defense early, maybe first 2 rounds? So we'll answer that really quick. I'll keep it short and just say, yeah. It's going to depend on who's there. It's going to depend on what happens to the quarterbacks, because I seriously think the Steelers are going to make a play for Malik Willis. We'll get into that later. But if all else fails, Malik Willis is gone. Because at this point, I don't even think they move to get Kenny Pickett. I don't think they move to get anybody else. I think if they move, it's going to be Malik. Just my hunch. So let's say he's gone. Is Jordan Davis still on the board? Is Nakobe Dean still on the board? Is one of those corners still on the board? I doubt it. But what about the other kid, man? I'm forgetting somebody. What's his name? Devin Lloyd?
Oh, Devin Lloyd, linebacker.
Is he still on the board? So I will say yes to your question. I would go defense if the right player is there. And let's say the higher ranking player on my board is gone, meaning if my eyes is on Malik, he's gone. I would go defense. I wouldn't go O-line first. There's no need. I don't know if there's another offensive player I would take in the first round outside of quarterback because of the moves we've made in the draft. In free agency. So, yes, I would do that because, we're going to face some mobile quarterbacks. Absolutely. All 3 of them. And we're going to need corners. We don't know what's going on at strong safety. It's a lot still on the table right now. So, absolutely. And then Kenya will answer the questions too. So I'll just knock the other part off on the other question from my point of view. We talked about Baker already. We said we weren't entertaining that at all because I would be thoroughly disappointed if the Steelers, I don't care if it's for the league minimum, I would be thoroughly disappointed if they sign Baker Mayfield. No disrespect, Baker, I'm just saying. I would not like that. Not at all. I'm just not a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I'm sorry. I'm just leave it at that. I don't really have nothing else to say. But what you got on those 2 questions, Kenya?
That was it, huh? That's all. Yeah.
That's all I got, man. That's it.
For me, if you see what the Steelers have done in the offseason for free agency, it kind of paints a picture of kind of what they may or may not do. I wouldn't. The Baker Mayfield question we already answered. I'm not. Nope, as I would say. thumbs down, as he would say, 54-40, as we both would say to each other.
Absolutely.
As far as would I draft defense, depending on the player, I don't believe Jordan Davis will be there at 20. I believe Jordan Davis will be gone before 20. Mike Tomlin has said this the other day. He's like, no, there's no way he ends up at 20. So, I'm not really looking at him. So in other words, in defense, I mean, I guess if maybe I would look into Stingley.
Yeah.
If he fell that far, because I think he's fallen. But even then, I don't know. The only defensive player, I think the person that they like, because they were at the Michigan Pro Day, I know the person that they like is Daxton Hill, which I told you guys about, who is a safety who can kind of he plays all three positions.
Yeah.
And they love versatility. Remember, he ran a 4.2 at the combine. He's that fast.
That's crazy.
And he plays safety, cornerback, slot, and that's somebody I think that it's kind of like they call him like a better version of Mike Hilton. You know what I mean? Because he has great ball skills. So,
what's his size like?
He's 6 feet.
Oh, he's 6 feet.
Yeah, he's 6 feet. So maybe him, maybe a Daxton Hill. If it came down to that, if they stayed at 20, because he'll be there at 20, they can get him at 20. Those other cornerbacks will be gone. Sauce Gardner will be gone.
Yeah, Sauce
Gardner's a top 5 pick. The other Georgia defensive lineman / linebacker, whatever you want to call it, he'll be gone. He'll go before Jordan Davis, because he's actually went ahead of Thibodeau and some people like him better than Thibodeau. So the person that's falling is Thibodeau. That would be my defensive options.
They whole front might get drafted, yo.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. So, and as I was telling somebody in the chat last week, the people they have that's coming out this year, the guy that went back to Georgia, he's better than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not close. He's better than all of them, and he went back. So that's the person I would want. I want that guy. You know what I mean? Because he looks like Cam Hayward with speed and more power and more, like, he's a monster. So, like, that's the dude I would want. But that's 23 draft. But it's, defense maybe, it just depends on how it falls. This is all if the Steelers stay at 20.
That's the thing, man. I mean, yeah.
Which we'll discuss. They stay at 20.
So there you go, Kev. So fun. That they might not be there. I mean, as much as I know some of you guys in the chat are saying not to do it, and we'll get there here in a moment, but they might, man. If the Steelers have identified Willis as this raw talent that they can shape, they could use a Trubisky as a stopgap. Don't be surprised, and we'll see. Well, getting to the free agents, man. Let me be quick with this, because I definitely want Kenyon to take the bulk of this, so he can kind of break down to you guys how he thinks and views each one of these players, because I know you guys like that part of Kenyon. The Juju stuff, man. I wouldn't read too much into what Moms said. There could be some truth to it, but I really wonder what the Steelers offered. I don't believe that the Steelers didn't make an offer. I don't believe that. I honestly, now listen, I don't know. But nothing makes me feel like the Steelers didn't want him back. Like they just was going to, all right, go ahead, see you. No, I think it probably was. And again, a lot of times I reference Steelers Depot because sometimes they share a thought that I have. So I would reference them and give credit to them. Dave Bryan said exactly what I was thinking. It's probably a situation where Juju wants another prove-it year. Makes sense for him. You know what I mean? The market isn't that high. He did that with us last year. I know some people say, oh, man, he gave us the hometown. Probably did, but at the same time, he bet on himself. Fortunately, he gets injured. His market didn't change. So I think that's what Juju's trying to do. He's trying to get that big payday. All players do. Because he only signed for a 1-year deal. And I didn't even realize until it was broken down, in the media, that this thing has so many incentives. Like
Right.
his base salary is only like $3 million or something like that, or $2 something. And maybe the Steelers weren't willing to do that. That's possible. But I just find it hard to believe. And it's funny, like fans, you guys sometimes will react to anything. I find it hard to believe that they didn't offer him anything. I don't believe that. Juju was too good of a kid, has been loyal to the Steelers.
Yep.
I don't believe that. I just believe maybe they weren't willing to do the type of deal that maybe he wanted, whether that's long-term and a lot of money or doing another short-term on a prove-it year. So it is what it is, man. You know, and Kansas City was flirting with him last season to try to get him in free agency. So, you know, definitely think that's going to hurt us. Like I said, I'm going to let Kenyon expand on that. Ray, shout outs to Ray McLeod, man, for, you know, going out there and getting $10 million for 2 years. He won't get that from the Steelers. It just won't going to happen. So, again, business. And I guess them games that he was able to play in, he did enough to make the 49ers believe in him as a receiver. But I will say this. Watch him mess around, go out there, and fit very well with what they do. With all of the, you know, the stuff they run. Like, think about how they utilize Debo. You think they ain't going to get Ray McLeod in the mix? With his return, you know, if his after the ball that is in his hand capability, he might go out there and, you know, do some things for them. They might utilize his talent. I don't know how much of a receiver he's going to be. We'll see. And, you know, I'm wishing him luck. And then James Washington, man, I'm going to be really brief with that. I just don't understand what happened to the relationship, man. I don't get it. You know, I understand you draft Claypool, and Claypool, measurable-wise, probably was projected to outperform him. But it just seems like he never got a fair shake. And I'm happy to see him land somewhere with the Cowboys. That's cool, man. But how are these losses going to directly affect us, man, as it stands now, Kenyon? Like, assuming right now we don't know what they're going to do in the draft. We haven't, you know, acquired another receiver other than the gunner kid. But, you know, right now he's more of a returner. How has this affected the Steelers offense right now with each one of those guys?
They're losses, but they're not unexpected losses. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no shock with the people that we lost. Juju only came back to Pittsburgh to play with Ben his last year. That was really his motivation for coming back. James Washington, as you said, Claypool was just a bigger version of James Washington. They drafted the same player, essentially. And James Washington, while I liked him at times, even in the draft when he came out, Sam, we had this discussion. I said, he's cool, but he's not, you know, he's not gonna, he's not a starting 1 or 2. You know what I mean? And that's how I always looked at James Washington. You know what I mean? And you know, as far as Ray, I'm not mad at Ray because he's essentially going into the same offense, but they run it better as of right now, and they can use them better. And I can see him having those jet sweeps and getting nice little runs and doing his little thing. And I'm not mad at that, man. I wish Ray the best. I told y'all that Juju was out here in LA, and I know somebody that just coached him. That's the only thing. I don't have any other connection that my boy used to coach him. So, and I heard that Juju wasn't talking about coming back to Pittsburgh. But I don't think there's no bad. It really isn't any bad blood. It's just business.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So, you know, Juju going to Kansas City, I'm not mad at him. It's another prove-it deal. Always remember, it's the deal that kind of can tell you what would dictate what happens. And the perfect example would be like Mitch Trubisky, as people were saying, we have Mitch Trubisky now, and I call him the bridge. That's what I call him. He signed a 2-year deal. That tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
He can ball out. That tells you everything you need to know. The 2-year deal tells you everything. So, you know, I look at it like we have losses with free agency, but now we know what we need to fill, and I think they'll sign somebody, a veteran. We don't have a slot. They'll probably sign a veteran. They may draft I know they're going to draft a speed guy. And, you know, I wouldn't be mad at Pittsburgh, personally, if they kept all their picks, if they doubled down a receiver. Because I would take somebody like, it's funny because the whole time I would joke with Sim and Tony, and we'd be, off air, and I would joke. I was like, man, yo, they get like Drake London. I was just joke. I was joking. Yeah. I was just playing around. but that could be an option. You never know. So it's an interesting thing. I do think Drake's gonna go in the top 4. I think he's like a top 4 guy, top 5 guy. I think the Jets make it. So. But if he falls and he's like receivers don't get taken in the first 10 picks, hey man, I'm just saying. I told y'all before. I like Claypool. He's a good player. He's a good young player. He's just not Drake London. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. That's all I got to say. So, but we know the holes they have to fill, and as I told you, those losses don't bother me. I'm just being honest. They just don't. Would it be nice to have Juju back? Yeah, he's a great blocking receiver, but I don't know how much they would utilize him in Matt Canada's offense. So this is good for Juju. He gets to play with Mahomes, and maybe he can get that big deal that he always wanted. Injury really prevented him from getting a good deal. Injury did. So, I respect Juju. He came back. I respect him. He wanted to play with Ben. I respect him. He'll always give respect to me. And he's a USC guy, so I love him. So that's it.
Yeah, I wish him well, man. I seen some people out there like throwing him out with the bathwater, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's business, folks. It is business. And that's all I can say. The NFL is a business. And sometimes, I try not to attack the players. I try not to attack the organization because this is the funny narrative that you see all the time with fans. They'll say, man, why the Steelers didn't make a play for this guy? How you know they didn't? Man, why the Steelers didn't sign this guy? Well, maybe the guy wanted to go where he could make the most money. You never know what is happening in that negotiation room, what the agent is saying, what the Steelers financial department is. You never know. So that's why I try not to feed into the narratives that you hear on Twitter by these reporters. The only ones that I kind of listen to is doing free agency, and you see like an Adam Schefter say, so-and-so is likely to sign. I listen to those because those usually pan out for the most cases. But why somebody didn't sign, I take that stuff with a grain of salt, man, because we don't know. And, like everybody was saying, why the Steelers, I literally saw people saying this, man, I don't understand why the Steelers didn't even reach out to Deshaun Watson. Who said they didn't? Like, how do we be knowing this information? I'm confused by that. I don't know. So I wish all of those dudes well, man. Like Kenya said, I think we're definitely going to address that position. Yep. The question is going to be, though, are we doing it in free agency? Are we going to do it in the draft? Does this give a bigger role to an Anthony Miller? Give him an opportunity. Rico Bussy, however you say his name.
Bussy. Yeah, Bussy.
Kobe White. I keep saying Cody. Is it Cody or Kobe? Cody. I don't know. We're going to have to see how those things play out. But that's where I'm at with it. They are, like Kenya said, and I think Kenya summed it up perfect. They're losses, but these are kind of losses that you could have anticipated. So there you have it. Now, as far as who we acquired, man, I'm not going to go through each and every name because we all know who the players are now. I will give the Steelers credit, man, for very quickly signing the returner from New England. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm going to just call him Gunnar O. From what I've seen from him, the games I watched, he's a very steady returner, like Ray was. He had a huge game against the Chargers in 2020, I believe it was. He returned one for 70 yards. He had another return for 50-plus yards. He caught a touchdown. I mean, he went crazy in that game. But if you look at this is one of the few times, Kenyon, where you can just watch somebody's highlights because he's a returner. Mm-hmm. Go look up his highlights. That'll give you an idea of what type of returner he is. I like him. He's aggressive. I didn't really see a whole lot of fair catches. He attacks it. He goes and gets the ball. And I think we did a great job filling that void. I think it was key that they got somebody who can do both. So now you don't take a position for a special teamer and then another, a guy who only returns punts, a guy who only returns kicks. He does both. So kudos to that. Seeing them sign offensive linemen, 2 of them, that was major. Lets me know that a Lindenbaum type of guy might not be in play now. Somebody pointed out on Twitter earlier, hey, I don't think the Steelers were at the Iowa Pro Day. Well, we know what the history says about the Pro Day. First round pick is usually coming from a Pro Day visit. If they weren't there, Lindenbaum is probably not going to be picked. It's going to be far-fetched. So I'm not mad at that as far as offense. I did know a little bit about the Daniels kid. Don't know as much about Cole, but it's good to see the Steelers go address the offensive line early. I think some of you guys are going to get your wish. Kendrick Green is probably going to be the odd man out. Unless, him working out with Marquise Pouncey does something miraculous for him when he gets in camp. We'll see. At the very least, though, and I know some of y'all might not agree, it gives us depth. Maybe he wasn't the greatest last year, but somebody goes down, I don't mind him having to come in. At least he's played. You know what I mean? So if we can get a cheap depth piece like that we spend a third round pick on, I ain't mad at that. And I'll just go to the big one, man. We prolonged it long enough. Mitch Trubisky. That came out of nowhere for me, only because I think I was blind. Remember, I kept denying it. I kept saying, man, I don't want no Trubisky. And I'm going to be honest. To my own admission, I was discounting it and not really paying attention to how Trubisky could fit the system. All along, they kept saying they want somebody who can run, who's mobile. Couple that with what Mason Rudolph said about what Canada runs. Go watch a decent amount of tape from Mitch Trubisky at Chicago. He can run this offense.
Yep.
Real quick, let's interrupt myself. Give a shout out to Rel Fax. Round of applause for the donation. Appreciate you, brother. He says, it's obvious we're interested in Malik Willis. It's a bit too obvious, and it's going to make it difficult to move up because teams know we are high on Willis. And we're actually going to address that on Rel Fax. I'm going to hold that because that's a good part of it. Part of my question that me and Kenya will go over is how far would they have to move. So we're going to talk about that here in a moment. So if it wasn't... Now let's take a look, guys. Now we get a peek behind the curtain and we see what the Steelers were thinking. They went with Trubisky. Who else was going to fit that was out there? Sound like right now, Mariota might have been the only other guy in terms of style. I don't think it would have been Brissett. I don't think it would have been Jameis. I don't think you trade for Jimmy G, or even if he got cut, you sign him. Because, again, I'm only going off of who they actually landed on. And taking some of my own advice, I don't know what negotiations were. I don't know who they did contact and who they didn't. But Mariota was still there. Brissett was still there. Jameis Winston was still there. There was other guys that were still there, and they went with Trubisky rather quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think Trubisky in this system that we're expecting to see is as bad as some of you guys think. Like, some of you guys have been completely trashing the signing, and that's fine. You know, opinions vary. But just think about the success that he had when he was with Chicago. He had bad games, a lot of quarterbacks do. But go watch some of his successful games and what he can do. He's going to fit the bridge. That, like, Kenyon has coined that name, and that's what we're going with. The bridge is going to fit that for the time being, and that's the biggest takeaway I had from it. Some of y'all acting like he's the next franchise guy. Like, I don't get it. And then some of the same people, Kenyon, they don't want us to draft a quarterback either. So I'm like, what y'all want? So which piece of the cake you want? You hate Trubisky. You don't want us to draft one of these quarterbacks. So I guess you were saying we just go with Mason, and which most of y'all didn't want that either. So I'm like, this is what they call rebuild. This is what it's called when you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback who was gracious enough, because he kept putting his body out there, to play for 18 seasons. This is what happens when you have to replace that guy. You're going to go through some trial and error. It might not be the draft year where the best quarterbacks are there. Maybe the Steelers didn't manage trying to find another quarterback early enough. That's fair. But this is where we're at. So I'm not down on the Trubisky signing. The bridge. I'm not down on the bridge because I think the bridge might be successful in that system while we groom another QB, or if we don't draft anybody this year, while we wait for 2023.
Right.
I am completely fine with that. And what happens if the bridge goes out there and he balls out a little bit in that system? He does what we ask him to do. Najee is running the ball better, I'm assuming, because the offensive line is getting an upgrade. I'm just saying, man, the Steelers were not going to, they told you, like Kenya said, they always tell you what they're going to do. They told you that they were going to go into camp with 4 quarterbacks. So that usually means, oh, there's 2 on the roster now. One of them we're actually going to tender to make him an official 2. We're going to get a free agent, and we're probably going to draft somebody. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys were expecting, but those are my thoughts. I'm not mad at any of the free agent pickups. Levi Wallace, I think, was a nice little sneaky piece right there. You know what, Kenyon? I didn't realize this. I ain't know they said it, and I don't know how much it matters. It does matter, but they said that dude only ran like a 4.6 in the combine.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that somewhere. I don't know if it's fact, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But I'm like, whoa. But I mean, listen, he played well from what I remember in Buffalo.
Yeah, but he doesn't play that ways. I mean, it's all about how you play. Like that 40 is a, I think people get that twisted. They look at that and they say to themselves, oh my God, he ran a 4.2, he ran a 4.3, he ran a 4. It's like, yeah, but how does he play? Does he play fast?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Claypool ran a 4.4, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen 4.4 from Claypool his whole time in Pittsburgh.
James Washington got more separation than Claypool.
Exactly. So I don't look at it like that. I look at it like how do you play? You know what I mean? It's different when you got pads on. And always remember when you're doing that 40 is a track event. So essentially you're training as a track athlete to do that, because you don't even run like that when you're in the game. That's not how you run. So, as far I'm with you as far as the free agent. I liked all of them. I think they've done undercover signings. I'll talk about the person who plays for the school that I don't really rock with, that's on the other side of town, which is 20 minutes away from me, UCLA. Yeah. I usually don't like UCLA players.
That's a steal right there.
But that's a steal getting Miles Jack. Miles Jack still has, I think, got a good 3 or 4 years left in him. He's a beast. He will help Devin Bush.
Yep.
Because if Devin Bush does stuff up now, oh yeah, you're gonna see some change. And I still like the linebackers that we've tendered that we still have. They're great backups, and you can have Buddy Johnson still learn and get better and better. And I like Buddy Johnson.
We forgot Schobert. That's the one person I forgot to talk about. But
okay.
Cap casualty, man. I mean, unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, he never really worked out. I don't have any ill will towards him. I wish him the best. But yeah, the Miles Jack thing for me, he's what Devin Bush should be. Like Miles Jack plays like the way Devin Bush should play. So, I think that that's a great thing. I think Bush will learn from him. Every other sign I like. I like all the signs. I like the lineman. I like the lineman from the Bears. I love him from the Bears. I love him. He's perfect for Canada's system. If you notice what they're doing, they're trying to put pieces together that I think Canada really wanted to put on his offensive line. As far as the center goes, look, I'm not out on Kendrick Green yet because he's a rookie. So I can't really be out on him. He was put in a position where he had to start and learn a lot of stuff his first year. And we'll see if those workouts work out. as I've said before to you guys, I don't give up on players in year one. I have to wait till year three because I know what they are at that moment. I know what you are. So, we'll see with Kendrick. It gives us depth, as Sim says. And they may address a lineman in the draft, but I just don't think it's a priority now.
Yeah.
Before I thought it was a priority. Now I don't think it's a priority. I think it's just they feel like they can get somebody. So, as far as the other free agents, I like all of them. So I like Levi Wallace. And I think that's a good compliment. Now they may draft another. I believe they will draft another cornerback. I believe you will see one get drafted. But I like it so far. And
yeah, man,
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints, man. It was cool to. I've never seen this, and many of you guys probably feel the same way. We've never had the pleasure to see the Steelers super active in free agency. Like, I don't recall a time ever. I could be off.
No, never. It's never happened.
Yeah, like when have we ever had signings in place
in
the tampering period? I ain't never seen that. Nope. We usually always wait till the wave goes. So it was cool to see that, man, and the fact that they did team-friendly deals with everybody, even them re-signing McCoy for how they did his was team-friendly. I mean, and I get it, guys. We sit on the sideline a lot, and people say, oh, that's too much money. No, man. These NFL GMs know how to wheel and deal. They know what the market value is. Like, that's what I try to explain to you guys sometimes, man, is whether you hate or love Okorafor, that's the market for starting right tackle. He was a starter last year, had a decent season. And maybe there was a couple plays here and there that you didn't like, but he didn't have a horrible season, so that was his market value. Teams can only will and deal according to the market value. So the way we structured everyone's contract was beautiful. So I like that. I did see somebody in the chat say, how do we feel about Norwood? I told you guys during the season, I think Norwood stepped up, and I think Norwood has a lot of potential. I don't know what he can do as a straight-up corner because we didn't see it. We saw him play nickel here and there, but it was so flip-flop. Like they would do Mollett sometimes, and they would do Norwood sometimes, and then when Akello came, of course, at that point we started moving Cam back to the the nickel. So I don't know if we've been able to hone in on what Norwood can do, but I do like how he progressed over the season. He seems to be smart, and let's see. Because, some of you guys were killing him too. Y'all remember, y'all was killing him too, saying how trash he is. And I'm like, man, y'all don't give nobody a chance. Did he make a mistake in that Chargers game? Yes, he did. He did. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. The deep touchdown to Williams. He did. But that's what rookies do. It's a learning experience. Round of applause to Eric Rivera. And there was another one, too, that I missed. C. Antoine Hill. Round of applause to both of you, and we will respond to your comments. And then we're going to get into Malik Willis. C. Antoine Hill said, is Trubisky our future QB2? That is very possible. I'll just say that really quick. If he pans out, and let's say we do go get Malik, or even next year, right? Might not be a bad idea to have a guy like Trubisky as your number two, because they've got to remember, we're about to be back in this situation again because Mason Rudolph only has this 1 year deal remaining for this season. Dwayne Haskins is pretty much the same. So the Steelers are going to be back in that situation of backup QB. So, yeah, it could be Trubisky. We'll see. Eric Rivera says signing Mitch makes them think we don't need a QB. Yeah. Listen, man. Exactly. Mitch.
I think the opposite.
The bridge is the bridge.
That's exactly why here.
You do that. Yep. Exactly. You do that, and you allow him to allow your new guy to sit down.
Yep.
And let's roll right into that, guys. The final topic of the night. Man, listen. All signs, to me, are pointing to the Steelers moving up to get Malik Willis. That's it. I think it could very well happen. Some of y'all don't agree. Y'all want to wait. Listen, we all have our feelings. We don't know what the organization is feeling. What we do know is they have shown a lot of interest in Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. And you haven't seen as much outgoing interest for Sam Howell. You saw that early in the process. But now you're not really seeing them too connected to the rest of these guys. Then we'll see, like we said, if they'll go to Corral's, and Ritter as well.
Ritter, yeah.
But if we can look at this from a fan standpoint and we think that Malik Willis has the most raw talent and the biggest upside, the Steelers know that too. If they look around their own division, you got at least two guys that can play like that. You might want to throw that same type of threat at them. Listen, the bridge can run, but he ain't that. You know what I mean? It's so many signs pointing towards Malik Willis. And what I have been saying for the last several weeks, let's wait and see what they do in free agency before we start predicting what we think they're going to do in the draft. They're putting themselves in position that they could do whatever they want. They can sit tight, go defense. They could trade up. They could trade back. I mean, it's so many things they could do now because a lot of the holes that we needed to fill, we didn't just fill them with okay guys, outside of quarterback. The rest of those positions, we got solid players. Like, James Daniels is legit one of the top guards in the league. We got solid players. Miles Jack, solid player. These are not just plug-in, guys that, this is not the John Bostic signing.
Yeah, yeah.
It ain't no security blanket. No, he's going to play.
Yep.
You signed him because you want him to play. Same thing I think is going to happen with Wallace. Definitely is going to happen with Daniels. It's maybe up in the air a little bit with Cole, but he's probably going to play. So you basically sign starters, which means you can do what you want in the draft. And listen, guys, going back to Cleveland, would I have given up 3 first-round picks and that much money? Maybe not. I don't know. But to agree with what some of you guys have said, my big brother, Cousin Floyd, that's probably listening, to agree with what he's told me offline, he was like, F them picks. And in a way, you kind of got to look at it like that, right? It's a first-round pick for a team that needs a quarterback. What are they primarily going to do with them picks? Try to find a quarterback. So if Malik is the guy, I'm not going to be mad if the Steelers give up. They switch this year's first. They flip-flop with whoever they trade with, and they give up next year. I'm not going to be that mad at it. I know some of y'all want them to wait till 2023, but we could be in the same situation. Let me explain really quick.
Yep.
The bridge goes out there along with the running game, along with the defense, and we mess around and win 10 games. Where are we picking at next year? Do we get Bryce Young? Do we get Stroud? Any of them? I'm just saying, it's the same. We could end up in the same situation because in order for us to have a clear shot at one of those top guys, you talking about us picking in the top 5, top 7, top 8. And again, our team is shaping up to at least be decent. At least even 7, let me see. A 9-8 record don't get us to the pick that we need. We'll be middle of the road. Even at our worst, I think the Steelers mess around and win 9 games. So now we're back in the same situation again. Oh, man, they got to move up. So I guess what you guys are saying, you would rather them move up to get Young or one of those guys instead of Willis. Right, instead of Willis. Which, again, that's opinion. Now, let me tell you something right now. The way that boy Bryce Young looks, yeah. If I thought we could get him, I would say, yeah, let's wait. But it's not a guarantee. That's all I'm saying, folks. It's not None of this stuff is guaranteed. And let's say that you want to make a move now. And let me explain why you might do that as the Steelers. Let's do it now. We got this guy for 2 years. He can sit, or if he wins the job later in the year, great. But let's do it now as opposed to starting this cycle over again next year. And that's sometimes how GMs and head coaches evaluate it. If they say, who do we like better? Stroud, Young. Who else is in that class, Kenya? The other kid from Clemson, right?
There's DJ Ukulele, CJ Stroud. And I'll just say this for the 23 class. I've told you guys about the 23 class a lot. As Sim tells you, like I'm usually 2 years ahead. Like I know about 24 class. I already know about it. The way I look at it is the one thing Malik Willis has on all these guys, I look at the offense that you run. Now, Bryce Young would be perfect in a Matt Canada offense. Yeah. Here's the problem. That offensive line you have to have beasts in front of him because Bryce Young weighs 180 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
He's small, yeah.
He weighs 180. So you have to have people to protect him. And Bryce Young is going 1 or 2 next year. So as Sim said, here's the thing that's funny. You don't want to go up to get a quarterback this year. So do you want Pittsburgh to tank, which is what Tomlin said he will never do, to be in a position to get a quarterback? They're going to win 9 to 10 games just because of the defense. The defense will put them in a position to win games. And I think Tomlin's thought process is, as long as our defense keeps us in the game, we can have a chance to win. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, you're going to have to trade up to get a quarterback. You're just going to have to trade up because quarterbacks go in the 23 class, which people say is deeper, but there's not many that can run that system. And the only 2 I see that I will put in Matt Canada's system is Bryce Young and maybe CJ Stroud. And I don't think CJ Stroud is the athlete that Malik Willis is, or is Bryce Young. They're not the athlete that Malik is. If you saw the pro day today, did you see him? That dude is thick. He's not little. There's no skinny to him. He's thick. So the way I look at it is, in the 23 class, these other quarterbacks, they're not as dynamic as Malik is. And Malik is going to sit anyway. And I don't see the issue because San Francisco did it. They traded up to get a quarterback. They already had a quarterback. Remember? They had a quarterback. He's been sitting. They traded up to do it. Was it wrong for San Francisco to do that? Did it hurt them? No. They're still good. You know what I mean? Green Bay traded up to get a quarterback. Is it wrong for them to do that? No. They don't. If you can get a quarterback and you identify the guy that you want, you draft him. You don't care about the picks. The picks don't matter. Because if you say they matter if you have holes. The Steelers address those holes in free agency. So now you can go get whoever you want to get, whoever you target, whatever. So if they have to move up to 9, if they have to move up to 8, so be it. If we have to give up a first round pick and a first round for next year, so be it. They already have holes that they feel, and they can address those other needs in free agency. So it's trending towards Malik. That's all we're saying. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's just trending that way because Carolina looks like they're all in on Kenny. Like they want Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? So, because if they didn't, they would trade for Baker Mayfield. Seattle, which was another landing spot, they seem to be in the Drew Lock. And Seattle, the way that Pete Carroll and them think, that's somebody that would draft somebody like Jordan Davis because they want to restart building that defense again to get that defense to where it is. They've lost. They cut Bobby Wagner. They're trying to rebuild. So they might do that and just wait to 23 and get their quarterback. Or if you want to think long term and you say you're the Steelers and you say, well, don't draft quarterback this year, I'm not trading up. Okay, so then in 2023, you don't get a quarterback. So in 24, we're back in the same position. Because the quarterbacks that'll be coming out in 24, which is the kid from Oklahoma that just transferred to USC, he's going number 1. And he's perfect in that kind of system. So either way it goes, you're going to have to give up capital to get what you want to get. Franchise quarterbacks don't drop to 20. They don't drop to 25. That is a rarity. Especially now. People just jump up and get quarterbacks now. If you fail, you fail. It is what it is. You have Mr. Trubisky.
That's the game, man. That's all teams do it. And Kenyon wrapped it up perfect because where I was going with that was the only difference you could say is you rather them trade up to get Stroud or Young, because I'm telling you we're gonna be in the same situation. So that's the only thing that you're debating. If you're being honest about it, yeah, maybe in totality the group of quarterbacks might be better overall, but we're talking about fit. Because even if, arm-wise, a lot of people are on this kid strong. But nobody is saying that he should come to the Steelers because he's not mobile. Right. So, somebody might take a chance on Ritter. I mean, it's honestly, man, I mean, if we're being fair, I think we use that quarterback class thing sometimes we inflate it. How many times have there been like more than 5 quarterbacks in the draft class that, you know what I mean?
That were good?
Yeah, that don't happen that often. It doesn't really happen that often. So, like I said, we know who probably the top 2, maybe 3 guys are next year. And you can say that about this class. You know who might be the top 2 or 3. So, I'm not going to debate everyone's opinion. I love all of the comments that are coming. I'll just say this. I'm expecting them to do it, and I won't be mad if they do it.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
That's where I'm at. I'm with you. I'm right there with you. I don't think that is. I don't have the same trepidation that somebody else made, because I believe once you get Mr. Trubisky, you can sit Malik. He can learn the offense, and then and maybe he takes over the job next year or something like that. If you happen to draft him, I'll be fine with that. But look, if you watch his tape and you watch him play, and Sim and I have watched Malik Willis play since last year. So this is a year and a half. So we've watched him for a while. You can't deny what he is. I mean, you can't. And walking into the NFL, he would be the second fastest quarterback walking into the league. And he uses that athleticism when he has to. And I just believe if you put weapons around him, and he has a great defense, and you can manage him, and just wait and let Mitch run it. He'll learn from Mitch and then bring him in the next year. I believe the Steelers could trade up and do it, and I won't be mad. I'll be good. I'm just telling you, I'll be good. You know what I mean? Because I think in this class, I think there's really only one. And another thing about these quarterbacks, when you say you have to wait or trade up or whatever, all the guys who have been drafted in the first 2 rounds the last 4 or 5 years, they're not on the same team anymore. It's an inexact science, people. Yeah. It's an inexact science. You don't know. You can only speculate. And if they love somebody, they love them. And it is what it is. They love Devin Bush.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? And hear me close. Let me get close to the mic so you guys can hear me loud and clear. Don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. This is similar. It's 2 scenarios I'm going to pose. First one, I'll say I wish this was the Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure what he's going to be situation with Malik, where the Steelers could trade back into the first. Man. If somehow he had that stigma on him, it would be lovely. He doesn't, though.
Right.
And here's the other thing I was going to say. Let me say it closely. This kind of reminds me of when Mahomes got drafted. Not a lot of people were saying he were going in the first round. Not a lot. He was potentially one of those quarterbacks. But it wasn't really nobody saying he's definitely, even think about it. Even when Andy Reid picked him, people were even saying, oh, he's identified, he's taking a chance. Not comparing apples to apples. I'm just saying it could be a situation like that where Malik Willis, you allow him a year or 2 to grow, and just looking at how dynamic he is, and he has a cannon, and if he's teachable, like mechanics and all that stuff can be corrected. I'm just saying, And even if they pass on him, I'm not going to be mad. So let me say that too, so you guys know that I'm just not all for. If they pass, great. Then I'm like, all right, let's see. Let's go the other direction. You won't hear me talk about it again. But I'm not going to be mad if they see the potential and they take him, because just think about what he could be, what he could become. And that's how these teams are going to evaluate him. It don't matter what we're saying. What matters is the scouting department. Did you see who else was at that pro day? Brandon Hunt was there.
Yes.
So come on, man. I think they've identified him as a guy that they really like.
Yep.
And listen, I'm going to trust the coaching staff, man. We need a quarterback. Like Kenya said, we might miss on one. Listen, y'all are only saying a lot of this. We should wait. We should do this. We should do that. We should do that. Because we haven't had to do it since 2004. That's the only reason why this discussion is even coming up. We're so used to not even having to worry about this. And now we could end up being one of those teams that, man, they drafted a quarterback this year. Didn't quite give them what they thought. They tried it again next year. We might be in that cycle, y'all. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So don't be upset by what they do, man.
And just to piggyback off that, you know what hurt Malik Willis, or what's helped Malik Willis now? Lamar Jackson. You know what's helped Malik Willis? Patrick Mahomes. You know why? Because they fell in the draft and people let them drop and they went to teams and they became stars. So now when somebody that reminds you of Lamar or Patrick Mahomes comes out, they're going to be elevated into the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. When you don't see something like that and you start seeing it coming more and more frequently, and you always remember all college offenses run RPO offenses. So all the quarterbacks that you're going to see coming out of the draft for the draft now will be like that. They'll be mobile. That's why Carson Strong 5 years ago would be a top 2 pick.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Easy.
No doubt.
Easy.
And your boy. I think, because I know me and Kenyon think differently of him, but I feel like there's something. I feel like there's something that could come out of Ritter. I don't know what though. Like I don't have the confidence in saying that. But to use Kenya's example, 5 years ago, I think Ritter gets a shot. Because of his size and all that, the pro system and all of that jazz. I think he might develop into something. We'll see. I just don't. I'm not trading up for him. I'm not doing that.
I think Ritter has it. You don't have a real discussion. Like, I think he's a leader. I think he has it. I think he can get people to rally around him and want to play for him. My thing with Ritter is, as I said, he's just like a better version of Josh Dobbs. That's who you like. When I watch Josh Dobbs, I say, oh, that's Desmond Ritter. He's just a better version of him. You know what I mean? And Ritter has. I think you can. The right team gets him. Yeah, he'll be good.
Yeah, he might be.
Is he a franchise guy? Does he fit our system? He can run our system. But the question is of the quarterbacks that you've seen in this particular draft, this draft that's coming up, who fits best?
Malik.
That's it. That's the only question you got to ask yourself. Who fits best? And then there's your answer.
Man. Just having a quarterback with the threat, like having a quarterback in today's league that they have to play the RPO honest, the zone run on, like they have to, because we gonna incorporate all of that. They have to stay home and wonder if he's gonna tuck or hand it off. And you got Najee that you're giving it to, and the upgraded O-line. I'm just thinking about the potential, guys, down the road. That's why I'm in favor of Malik Willis if the Steelers have identified him. I've taken my feelings out of it. If they have identified him as the guy, I'm not going to be mad whatsoever with what they do to go get him. And I'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Got a couple donations, guys, and then I think after that, me and Kenyon will just look at a few of the chats, answer those, and then I guess we'll be done. See Antoine Hill, let's say round of applause to him and Keith Barnaby. Round of applause to both of you brothers. He says, Whisper, Tomlin grew up where Iverson, Vick, and Brooks played high school quarterback. Yep, he sure did, man. Tomlin is from that
Yep.
You know, if you're from Virginia, they call that like the Hampton Roads area, Tidewater. You know, it's a lot of athletes come out of that area. You know, you got Norfolk, you got Hampton, you got Newport News, which they call it bad news because it gets busy out there. You got Portsmouth, you got, you know, so yeah, Tomlin is from out that area. Who else? It was Keith Barnaby he says draft wide receiver Jameson at 20 this year. 2023 trade up for Bryce Young. Obviously, you have to trade 2024 first round. Young Jameson combo, repeat Cincy. Okay.
Can I answer that question?
Yes. Y'all know you're going to say where I'm going. Go ahead.
Okay, you draft Jameson this year. He can't play. He's hurt. He won't be available. He won't be ready for training camp. So essentially, it's a redshirt year. So you want to draft a receiver that you can't use. And then in 24, you want to trade up for Bryce Young, and you think it's only going to cost you a 2024 pick? And they just traded for a quarterback. They just traded for Deshaun Watson, and he got 3 ones. And if Bryce Young is that coveted, you think you're going to be able to trade your pick from where you are to get the number 1 pick? Which one is easier? Trading up into the top 10 from 20, or trading for wherever you are to get the number 1 pick? I'm just doing the math, man. That's all I'm doing.
And again, we're not chumping the comment. We're just saying we putting on the evaluator brain, right? If Bryce Young right now, people are saying, if he came out now,
number 1.
Let's assume he has a great season. You know,
right.
he's gonna be the guy. So,
right.
And again, y'all, now this is what I'm saying. My opinions is always rooted in something. I'm not saying they're right. These are just opinions. But when we say let's wait until next year, we're gonna have to go further. Unless the Steelers have a horrible season, and what is the likelihood of that? Where it's just completely trash. We're gonna have to go further to get Young and probably even Stroud. So it's not as simple as let's wait and trade up next year. Nah, man, the scenarios totally change. More teams could be looking for a QB next year. Like, it's all of these variables. Sometimes you have to strike when you can, okay, let's do it now. Because you don't know who's in the running next year for a quarterback, or who didn't pan out. What free agent didn't pan out this year? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. I see you, Mr. ABS, VA stand up. I see you.
And also, here's the thing that's even more interesting. If Mitch Trubisky came out in this draft, he would be the number 1 quarterback taken.
Quite possibly.
He would be the number 1 quarterback taken in this draft. I want you to think about that. But you want to wait till next year. Next year, he would not go ahead of Bryce Young. He would not go ahead of C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young will be fighting for the number 1 spot. They will be fighting.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, man. You know, it's fun to talk about this stuff, and I can't wait till draft night, because y'all already know we're gonna have to do it live and just enjoy that. Wave Dave, I'm right there with you, man. This is the perfect time to strike if you've identified that guy as your guy. It's the perfect time.
Yep.
And that's all I'm trying to get Steeler Nation to see as a fan base. We all might not be happy with it. We all might not like Malik Willis. That's fair. I'm just trying to look at it from a GM standpoint. And that wording that Kevin Colbert said keeps playing in my mind. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to retire until I find the next franchise quarterback for the Steelers.
Yep.
And the way he's moving, it looks like he's trying to go get. We think this guy might be our future, and we could be wrong. What if they pull a trick on us and they move up and get somebody else? Like, who knows? Like a totally different position. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And real quick, Kenya, before we go into the chat for a few minutes, would you be in favor of moving up to get Jordan Davis? I don't know how I feel about that. Would you commit that to a D tackle?
No,
He's not an every down.
He's not an every down player. He can't. I think he's a freak athlete. I think what he did at the combine is something I won't forget for the next couple of years. Like, that's how impressive that was, what he did at his weight. I think he had the most impressive combine that I've seen in a long time. But he's a 2-down player. The Steelers run a lot of nickel now. I don't see them doing that. It doesn't make sense. I mean, 20 years ago, I'm taking him because he's Casey Hampton, and he's a better version of him. He's a monster. He's who he is. He's Albert Hainsworth. Remember how good Albert Hainsworth was? He's like that. He's that dominant. But to be honest with you, the person I would trade up for is the defensive end. I would trade up for him because I know where I could put him. So look, I love Jordan Davis. I think I have no beef with him. I have no problem people loving him. I love him too. So I'm gonna tell you, we watch Georgia. We love those boys down there. We love all of them. The person that I'm kind of out on would be like somebody named Nakobe Dean. I think having Nakobe Dean is, you watch him, he's small. He's very small. And then you started to make me think, that's that defensive line that protects him, and he just runs around. Mm-hmm. Similar to somebody else on our team who people say, well, he's always getting, because Devin Bush is not one of those guys. You got to have a line so Devin Bush can run free and do what he wants. Now, Devin Bush has to get out of his own head about his knee injury and just play. Now,
him and Jack and Bush, you ain't got no meat, really.
You ain't got no meat, none. Yeah. So, Jordan Davis, I'm with you. I just wouldn't. I couldn't trade up with Jordan Davis. And I can see, I can kind of feel. I have a feeling where look. I don't want to speculate, but just imagine if he ends up with the LA Chargers. They already got. Oof. You put him in the middle of that defense with Bosa and your boy they just got from Chicago as the ends.
Y'all know who's gonna take him though. I hate to say it, but I know who probably gonna take him. Yeah. Because they, and I didn't even realize this, but the team I'm talking about has a 6'8" tackle who's now a free agent.
Yeah.
He gonna end up in Baltimore. That could happen. I don't know if they go that route, but I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me because I think they might be picking at a spot where they'll be able to get him.
Where's Baltimore picking at?
Yeah, let me take a look. Actually, I meant to say that a little earlier. Let me look at the draft order real quick. Baltimore is picking. Oh, wait a minute. Baltimore, they not even in the. Wait, where are they at?
Were they in the playoffs?
Oh, they at 14. They at 14.
Yeah, they can do it.
They might get them because Jacksonville, I don't know where they're going. Detroit, I'm not sure where they're going. Detroit ain't, I hate to say this, they're not smart enough to take him at 2.
Detroit might do, like, Detroit, the Jets, because Detroit has multiple picks in the first round, right? They have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, they have 32.
Right. Or that's the second. So that's first, bottom first. So I think, they wouldn't do that. No.
So somebody asked earlier, and we'll do this real quick. How far will the Steelers have to move up? So top 10 picks: Jacksonville, the Lions, Texans. I'm gonna just pause real quick. Let's keep in mind both of those teams could very well draft a quarterback. Maybe, I don't know if they do, because who does the Texans quarterback now?
No, but the Texans like Davis. They like their quarterback from Stanford. They like him. They give him the reins at the end. They like him.
Okay.
Yeah, so they might address. They have they have bigger needs, so they might have to address pass rushing or they might do that.
And I don't know if Detroit goes at number 2.
No.
The Jets ain't gonna do it because we already know Zach Wilson.
Nope.
Giants at 5. They just signed Tyrod, right?
Right.
And Daniel Jones. So. Because Daniel Jones is not a free agent, right?
No, they won't do quarterback. They'll address something else. Yeah.
Carolina. Number 6, Carolina is a team that you got to pay attention to.
I think they love Kenny.
Yep. So we think that.
Side story is that Matt Rule knows Kenny Pickett and try to recruit him back in the day.
To Temple, yeah. And then there's the shot of the GM and all of them looking at his hands and all that.
Right, looking at you, right. So they love Kenny.
The Giants are picking again at 7. That could be interesting.
Wide receiver, defensive line.
Atlanta, even though they signed Mariota, could you do what the Steelers, quote unquote, might be doing? You get a veteran, and get a guy behind them. So that's possible. So let's play this game. Let's say number 8 is the biggest threat so far. After them is Seattle. And then after that, I thought Washington was going to be in play, but not now. They done traded for Wentz.
Right.
Minnesota, I doubt it, because they still got Mon behind Cousins.
Yeah, no.
Texans picks again at 13. Baltimore, Philly twice. Chargers at 17. Saints, possibly. But
not now.
Not now. They got Jameis, but here's the thing. If it get down there, then we're going to do what me and Kenyon said a long time ago. I definitely moved from 20 to 18.
Right.
No, I would try to drive to the draft and sneak in there to say, man, if y'all don't take this, definitely move. If at 18 Malik Willis ain't picked yet, go up just to keep New Orleans from doing it, which they probably won't. But y'all know what I'm saying. So the furthest that we think they have to go is 8. I think you switch picks, and next year's first might get that done.
Yep. And I think they'll do it.
And if that's what we think the cost is going to be, and actually, guys, again, I don't mind deferring to people who've done this for years, and this is what they do on a daily basis. I'm going to send that question for Steelers Depot for their podcast tomorrow. And I'm going to, y'all know, if y'all listen to that podcast, y'all know Dave is like he calls himself idiot savant when it comes to this stuff. I'm going to ask him what he thinks it takes to go all the way to 8. I think it's what me and Kenyon just agreed to. I think this year's first they swap and you give up the 2023 first. I think that's probably the most expensive it's going to be.
Yep.
And if that's the case, I think Steelers are going to do that.
Yep.
If they've identified Willis, and again, the reason why I'm going to ask Dave Bryant is y'all know he's been saying it for weeks now. He's all in on that. He's like, that's what they're going to do. There's no doubt in his mind. So I'm curious to know what other people think the compensation would have to be. So if you listen to that podcast, look out for that question because I'm definitely going to ask that. Let's read a couple comments, man, and then I'm going to get out of here because it's just me and the little man tonight. My wife hasn't got home yet. She had to do some friend visiting. She'll be home in a minute. Destiny said Dave is that guy. Yeah, I love Dave, man. And for all of y'all that be trying to mock him and stuff for him stuttering sometimes, y'all need to grow up, man. That's so stupid.
They're cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like what they do over there.
They fixates on certain players sometimes. So then,
yeah, he do. Yeah.
when he's wrong, he tries to when you should. It's like, nah, man, nah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't fixate on that dude, man. It wasn't gonna happen. You know what I mean?
And it's cool, man, when you listen to other people that you respect and you disagree at times, because it's times that some of the stuff I've seen, like Alex suggested, I'm like, I don't know about that,
right?
But that's the beauty of it. We all got our own way of thinking. Ozzy Tank says a first and a fourth. So you think Ozzy is going to take? Because I think automatically you're going to switch first round picks. So you think it's that next year's first and a fourth?
I can see that.
The Falcons want the Vic Field back. That's why they went after Watson. Okay, maybe. What else they asking us here? Destiny says, what's the chance they try to move up and he's gone? What happens then? BPA.
Well, I think if the Steelers identify somebody they will trade up for that team that they think will take him and do it. It's not a if he's gone situation because those top five picks aren't picking Willis. So right there, you know. So now you know where your spot is, your jump spot is. Look, they moved up for Devin Bush to 10. You saw
that's right. Ahead of Denver, right? Wasn't it ahead of Denver? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they will move up ahead of the team that they think that they know will probably take him, and they will draft him. So that's it. And I know they may be all in on that now. And what's interesting is what Sim says. The Steelers, Kevin Colbert, the last 4 years has done a nice little metamorphosis into going for things now.
Yeah.
And I think he will go for it if they identify that's the quarterback. And if the buzz is everybody's talking about Malik Willis, everybody wants Malik Willis, then that's what's going to happen. So, I mean, the Steelers love him, and it's not a secret. So we'll see.
You can see the comments, right?
Yeah.
All right, pick one and answer it. Let me go check on this boy real quick. I'll be right back, y'all.
Let me see. You got any questions? I will answer them for you. Put it in the chat. Okay, Mr. Abs, I got you. Semi Kenyon, what do y'all think of Pickens out of Georgia? Watching this tape, he has the best natural hands catching the rock. He gives me AJ Green vibes, and I know you already showed interest. Mr. Abs, before Pickens got hurt, I had Pickens as the number one receiver coming out of this draft 2 years ago. I mean, I saw him as a freshman. I thought he was the best receiver in the country when I saw him at Georgia. Before he got injured, I thought George Pickens was the best receiver in the draft. I've said that multiple times to my friends. Y'all, you know, Mr. Adams, I always talk, I talk about receivers and I talk about Drake London, but Pickens was better than him before he got injured. And I don't know if he'll ever round into that form again, but he does have great hands. He's a great route runner. He's a beast. And I think his draft stock has fallen because of that injury. And, you know, would I look into somebody like that in the mid rounds? Maybe. But Mr. Adams, yes, I think he's good. But I had him number one until he got hurt. When he got hurt, he never recovered. So I just, you know, that would be my thoughts on it. What do you think? You know about Pickens? You know about Pickens?
Yeah, and it's you got to keep an eye on it too, man, because you know, history has shown any pro day is, you know, any of them players could be, you know, maybe that's how they build a big board if we're speculating.
Right.
But like Kenya said, you know, I might be a little more cautious because of the injury, but I don't know, man. In today's NFL, it seems like dudes bounce back, you know, with today's medicine and, you know, advancements and all that. But he's definitely a big boy, a dog. Like, but man, I think Kenyon has sold me on London, though.
Yeah, you know, Drake London to me is just, you know, I tell people this in the chat, and it's not just because he went to USC, but I've said this before. Like, there are people that play at USC, UCLA. I always scout. I'm on the West Coast, so it's just natural that I would know that. I'm usually at USC a lot of times, So, but it's look, Drake London is just a dog. He's just different. You know what I mean? If you watch it, I mean, his highlight tape shows you how much of a beast he is. But if you watch him in a game, and I always think about the game that Sim watched because he was texting me when this happened.
Yeah.
When he caught a slant, and I think 4 people was trying to tackle him, and he was just like running. It was crazy. And Drake London, he played basketball. That basketball skill that he had, it's funny. When you watch Claypool and you always talk about contested catches, and Mike Tomlin, that's something Mike Tomlin loves, contested catches. Mm-hmm. When you watch Claypool and you see him jumping in the air and playing like he's 6'4", but he plays like he's 6'1", and he's falling on the ground. Drake London doesn't do that. He punts DBs most of the time. And I'm telling you, when he walks in the NFL, he's going to do it to NFL DBs. And he's not fast. Yeah. He's not running a 4.4, but watch. And he can get off. He gets separation. Sam will tell you, he gets separation all the time. So I just love Drake London. I don't think he's going to be there, I think his stock has went up. So, but he's just a monster. You know, I'm telling you this so I ain't got to talk about him next year when he's killing people. And you say, I don't want to talk about him after that because he won't be on our team. So, but he's gonna be a beast. I'm just telling you, he's gonna be a beast. He's just a better version of Claypool. You know, that's it. He does what Claypool should have been doing.
Yeah. Round of applause to Mr. Patrick Covington Sr. with a donation. He says, what about the run defense? Shouldn't we address that first? And does Malik Willis lack of accuracy bother you? I'll answer that one first, and definitely, you know, want Kenyon to give his thoughts on both questions as well. At the moment, I would say no, because, you know, the good quarterbacks tend to improve that. There was a time when, remember Josh Allen?
Yep.
Josh Allen was all over the place. And now all of a sudden, I mean, you know, if the talent is there, I think you can work on Malik's inefficiencies. Like even like some of his footwork at times, you know, if we're paying Mike Sullivan to be the QB coach, you know, I think he has fixable things. Yeah, I don't think the stuff that he does is completely out of whack. So it doesn't bother me at the moment. Again, giving you another comparison, if we're talking about a running guy, you know, Lamar has gotten more accurate. Lamar is accurate enough to win football games now. Is he Aaron Rodgers or a guy that's going to always be accurate? Maybe not. But have we not seen Lamar make some, like, over the years, I'm like, man, his accuracy is getting better. So even if we get that out of Malik, I'm cool. Run defense. Yeah, I definitely think we should still focus on it. I just don't know if it's a first round need right now because of who we're expecting to get back. And, you know, Alu, Adams. You've upgraded linebacker with Jack. We don't know what's going on with Tua. See, that's another thing to keep in your pocket, too. So I think the Steelers need to address it. I just don't know if because now I think if we're talking, and, you know, to be all the way deep into this, if we're talking about addressing the run defense, now we're talking about an interior D lineman. So now it goes back to the Jordan Davis thing.
Right.
And I think it's other people that you probably can get to help, you know, with that type of stuff later on. You know, you got to think about the emergence of Loudermilk. You know, is he going to have a leap in his second year? Yeah. So it's a lot of different things that factor in there. But I'm with you, you know. And again, it's like other people have been saying as well, our D-line and our front, period, is going to have to help keep those guys clean. Because Bush and even Miles Jack are just not they're not Vince Williams. Like Vince Williams he's going to plug the hole, and a lot of times dudes are going backwards. I think Jack has the will to do that. He's just not the biggest guy in the world. But if Cam is taking on double teams and stuff like that and say to it, and Alulu is being his quick self and his strength, then we're going to be fine. You know, we got Miles Jack who will be able to bring some more of that sideline to sideline back for us. So I think we'll be all right there. But what you think, Kenya?
Yeah, I don't have the I don't think it's a pressing need, but, you know, if Jordan Davis is not there, I think the Steelers there's other people the Steelers like. They like Travis Jones out of Connecticut. He's flown up the boards, and he fits that type of need. He's kind of like a Lou. He's like you know what I mean? He's a monster. You have Perion Winfrey. You got Devontae Wyatt. You got Haskell Garrett.
Forgot about Winfrey.
There's multiple guys that you can get later on in the draft to address that run defense. Jordan Davis is a great player, but Travis Jones, you can play him all three downs. You can play Perion Winfrey all three downs. Like, that's the difference. Like, and I think the Steelers defense, you know, playing nickel a lot, they would kind of like those guys more because they like your guys to rush the passer and all that stuff. So, you know, it's you know, I think it's not a pressing need. I think they've addressed it. And I agree with you, Sam. I think Loudermilk, if you look back on that drive now and you say that was a stupid pick, it doesn't seem stupid now, does it?
No.
Because Loudermilk is good. Yeah,
so, Loudermilk looked like he going to be something.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm with it. You know, I'm with
I imagine
it.
he gets stronger over the summer, put on a little
Yeah.
more, girth and muscle mass. Y'all know what? Again, this is me just spitballing. I don't know if this is true, but obviously today's NFL has kind of, like Kenya said, referenced earlier, the Casey Hampton type of guy is not necessarily the need per se. And I think if you look at what the Steelers did, let's go back, let's say the last 7 years. You know what kind of got them away from that too? Y'all remember Big Dan?
Yeah.
Remember how big he was? And nowhere near the athlete as Jordan Davis, but they kind of went from a Dan McCullers to a Jay Wobble, who was more nimble, quick, could rush the passer, could play the run. Then we bring in a veteran in Alu Alu, who is, again, another guy who seems to be a little more nimble, can rush the passer, can play the run. So it's, like Kenya said, I think if the Steelers were investing on a D tackle, it's going to be a guy that, could give you, 3 rounds, not 3 rounds, but 3 downs worth of playing time. So I don't know. I guess we kind of just know the team like that to where we always are thinking from that standpoint of, all right, what are they going to do based on what they run, what they like, how the game has evolved, yada, yada, yada. But somebody's definitely going to draft Jordan Davis, even if it is just for you're going to play first and second down for us.
Yeah.
And short, down in distance. But, I just don't think it's the first round need. I don't think that's going to happen.
I think that's second, and I don't even know if it's a second round need. I think you can get those guys mid-round. So,
and somebody even said here in the chat, think about Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald he's a big boy, but he ain't no big dude. You know what I'm saying? He's more of the super strong, quick, nimble, can play the pass, can play the run.
He's the prototype.
Yeah.
The Steelers don't want a traditional nose tackle anymore. They don't run that defense. They don't run that. They're rarely in traditional 3-4, and Alulu can do both.
Yeah.
But Alulu is really a defensive end playing nose tackle, but he can play both. So that's what they value the versatility. They don't want, as he said, Jay Wobble was like that type of combo guy that you wanted. And if you notice how Jay Wobble has flourished in a 4-3 defense, because that's what he's more comfortable in that defense. They don't want the traditional Casey Hampton. I don't know if we're getting that again. I don't know if they're running that defense again. So,
yeah, and Mr. Winningham, you're right. Alu is getting up there in 8. So we definitely got to be thinking about replacements eventually. Like I said, I just don't know if this is the year to draft that position in the first round. One more, guys, and I'm going to get out of here. The wifey just walked through the door, so y'all already know. Gonna spend some time with them. What round would you pick a receiver? Assuming everything goes the way we expect. No crazy surprises. I would go as early as second round. Because, this is hard, man. I'm going to be honest, Kenyon, because I honestly don't have a preference this year. I don't really have a preference player that I say I want them to do this in the first.
Okay.
Because we literally sitting at, we can do what we want. We can do whatever we want at this point. Best player available, draft, move up. So I don't have a player that I've identified this year that I would say, nah, we need this in the first round.
That's what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So I would say, if they drafted a receiver, maybe the draft fell that way where all the quarterbacks they wanted are gone. Maybe one of the linebackers they want is gone, and one of the top receivers is there. I wouldn't be mad at that. But my preference would be no earlier than the second, because the receiver class is deep.
Yeah.
Like the guy that everybody's talking about. Like, I think Sky Moore is in the second round. So
maybe late first.
Yeah, so I probably wouldn't go. I wouldn't do that in the first if I had it my way, because I think there's guys that you can get that will, be able to do work for us. So,
yeah, I would agree.
37. Alulu was 37. For real? He ain't that old, is he?
I thought he's 35.
No, that's not an old human being, but for football, 37? No. Yeah, I think he's 35.
Yeah, Lulu's not older than Cam Hayward. I mean,
oh no, I think he might be older than Cam, maybe
by a year, but it's not. Yeah. It's not like a big gap. Yeah, it's like no.
All right, let's take a look at this here. 34. He's 34. He'll be 35 in May.
Okay.
All right.
30. Okay.
Yeah. But man, what a great show, man. We appreciate y'all, man, because y'all feed into, us being able to get through these topics. Gave you a nice lengthy show. Definitely knew this wasn't gonna be no hour show. Next week we got the ladies. The ladies are coming on. I believe Debbie told me, because everybody's schedule doesn't always match. I think right now it's going to be her and Destiny. And if that changes, the more the merrier. We would love to have Lanisha. We would love to have Odessa. We would love to have some of the other ladies in the chat. Again, I'm going to say, if you want to participate in something like that going forward, I'm going to put the onus on you all to reach out to Debbie or Destiny. Because the two of them, or even Lanisha. But the reason why I say Debbie or Destiny is because those two have kind of been more of the catalyst as far as the reaching out. Everybody else is equally important, so let's not get that twisted. But it seems like they've kind of elected Debbie to be the organizer, because Debbie always reaches out, and they so professional, man. Y'all should see these emails. I'm telling you, Debbie sends me emails like it's like work. Like this is her proposal and bullet point. Like the ladies are so professional. So like I said, going forward, if y'all want to be a part of the ladies SteelTable, y'all need to reach out to Destiny. Debbie. Let's say Debbie, because Destiny probably is going to agree with that. Lanisha's probably going to agree with that. She's the one who puts it all together. So you need to reach out to her here in the chat, chop it up, and there you have it. But they will be on next week. I suspect Kenyon. I wonder, do we do another SteelTable before the draft? I don't know if much is going to change. We're gonna do the live draft one.
We gotta do the birthday show.
Oh, that's right. That's before the draft. Yep. So that'll be the week of our birthdays. He's the 13th. I'm the 15th of April. Yep. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back and we're gonna do the live draft show. So there you have it. But outside of that, guys, man, definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. Boom, right here. If you haven't already, you got to hit that like button if you like the video. You got to subscribe, because why wouldn't you if you enjoyed what you saw? And cut on your notifications. But other than that, going to get out of here. We appreciate y'all. And let's stay tuned and see what else happens, man. I'm suspecting Terrell Edmonds is probably going to be back. Look like the market might not be out there for him. Yep. And as long as the Honey Badger is out there, Terrell's market is not going anywhere. So
yeah. And Dallas did just resign Javon Curse. I mean, the safety.
Oh, they
Javon
did
Curse,
sign. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that shows you where the market is coming. So the chance of Terrell being back, or
I welcome him back, man. I know some people ain't into him, but I welcome him back. I really do. I think him and Minka got a little bit of little chemistry that they built, man. And I would welcome him back with no. And let's not forget that too. And we said we was leaving, but I'll just leave y'all with this cliffhanger. Does Minka still get extended this offseason? That's something else to keep an eye on.
I think so.
I think it happens. I think some restructures happen, and so it's still a lot to talk about. But anyway, see y'all next week. God bless. Stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.